Shawn, Animalize, Irwin.
And Mikael, Svensson.
We're here with Brian Vollmer of Helix in Sweden for Sweden Rock Festival. How you doing, Brian?
I'm fine, yourself?
Great, thanks. Thank you for meeting up with us here. I just want to talk a few things. You're recording a new solo album, and I wonder if you can tell us all about the new solo album.
Well, it came out solely by accident. I wasn't looking to do a solo album. It came about as a result of my friendship with Shawn Kelly, who I've done the last couple of Helix albums with.
Right.
And Shawn was working with one of Canada's top producers, Gavin Brown, in Toronto, and he pulled a favor a couple of years ago and got me on this TV show called Cover Me Canada, which had about 1 million viewers a week. And so I established that relationship with Gavin Brown, and then last fall I was talking to Shawn on the phone. He just happened to be in the recording studio working with Gavin again, and I said, as a joke, think Gavin want to work with me? And he said, why don't you ask me? So I asked Gavin. He said, sure, when do you want to do the album? I went, and so next thing I knew, we were doing an album, and it ended up being 7 cover songs and 2 originals. And it should be out in the fall.
Out in the fall? Great. And
Danko Jones is going to sing a duet with me on the first track.
that was the next question: is who's the guest stars on the album?
Well, Danko's singing an alternate line to me in the first song, Get Your Hands Dirty. I also have Cheryl Lescombe, who's a great blues singer, been a friend of mine since 1976. Then the Shawn playing guitar, Daryl's playing bass from Helix, and Gavin Brown actually drummed, and Matt Weidinger played keyboards. He's just a young kid. But he's got those Leon Russell chops that I wanted on this CD. So.
Great, looking forward to hearing it.
Thanks.
You played Sweden Rock in 2005. How was your experience back then in 2005 playing in Sweden?
Well, in 2005 I had a different lineup in the band, and it was a hodgepodge of players, essentially from about 1998 until 2008. Just to keep the band going, I had to get rental players, and on that particular on that concert, I had Jeff Fountain on bass, Jim Lawson, and Reiner Weichman on guitar. I had Cindy Weichman, his wife, singing background vocals, and Brian Durner on bass. And so over time, all those people disappeared, and now I have 3 of the original members from the 80s lineup that everybody recognizes, and 2 young guys with great attitudes. Kale's been in the band 8 years now, and Chris has been in since 2014. Great players, right attitude, and it's really important in our band because when you got one guy going the wrong direction, it doesn't work.
You're replacing Y&T this year. They announced Helix, and Y&T backed out to Sweden Rock Festival. What's in store for us at Sweden Rock Festival tonight with Helix?
Well, we play all the old hits, plus we got some of the new songs that off the last couple albums, like Get Up, Even Jesus Wasn't Loved in His Hometown, plus some of the songs that we maybe haven't played in a few tours. Like we're playing Feel the Fire tonight from the Walking the Razor's Edge album. We're playing Never Want to Lose You from No Rest for the Wicked. So a few surprises there, and basically just a solid set of solid Helix material.
I had a question about that. With so many albums under your belt, how do you choose the songs for a live show?
Well, we always stick to the ones that people want to hear, because I feel that people are coming out to hear those songs. Rock You, Heavy Metal Love, Dirty Dog, Gimme Good Lovin', Kids Are All Shakin', Deep Cuts the Knife. And then we just put the new songs and the songs we maybe haven't played for a while around the song. We play with them, and we maybe stick in some new live audience participation stuff, and we take it from there.
You've been actively touring Canada for many, many years and throughout the world as well. Any plans on, now that you are in Europe, doing more European shows?
Well, we tried to get more shows while we were over here, but there wasn't enough time. I tried to get us into Finland, and for a while we worked on that, but it never materialized. And then I was trying to also get us over into Spain with a promoter I know there, but it just wasn't enough time to get it all again.
We saw you on the 2016 Monsters of Rock cruise.
Yeah.
We agreed, a bunch of us, all saying the poolside show was one of the best shows we've ever seen at Helix. And we've seen a lot of Helix shows. How was this experience on the cruise? I know you've been on it before as well.
It was a lot of fun, and the nice thing I like is the fact that you can rub elbows with all those bands that I've spent don't know how many years, but it's almost like a family reunion. Bands like Kicks and Y&T, Keel, Ron Keel's a friend of mine, and there was just all sorts of people, not on that cruise, but Choir Boys, the tour before, or the cruise before. And I bring my wife along. Usually I leave my wife at home for these gigs. But on that one, I bring my wife out, and most of the guys bring their girlfriends and wives. And it's just a fun time, you know. You play a couple times on the boat, and you get a cruise, and you go to the Bahamas, and what couldn't you like?
Good trip.
Good
For
trip.
sure. Speaking of your wife, you got a YouTube channel with the Vollmers.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I wanted to do a variety show, and I couldn't get any interest from anybody, so I thought, fuck it, I'll do it myself. And I learned how to use the Adobe Premiere Pro and basically taught myself how to edit. And I found that when I put that together, it was too long. People wouldn't sit through it all. But it led me to put together 4 or 5 minute clips that I now regularly put up on Facebook. I don't know if you follow me at all. And I put a lot of them up on the Helix website as well. So I try to keep it to 4 or 5 minutes at the very longest. And the nice thing about the Vollmers is it taught me how to use that editing program, and now I can do it myself. I don't have to depend on other people to put stuff together for me. And I can put stuff together relatively quick. It's not, like, it's not the best quality in the world, but
Well, you're bringing back a lot of old material through Facebook because you're very active through social media. So as fans, we're very appreciative of that, to see some of that old footage, backstage footage as well. So
well, I have stuff that goes way back. Us with Ron Williams and Hollywood, Quiet Riot, when we toured with them, Whitesnake, Motorhead. I have about a 10-second clip of Lemmy going, "Fuck off, Vollmer," and that's about it. And I got a lot of those old clips. The nice thing about the clips is the Canadian bar scene really doesn't exist anymore. I took a lot of that footage during that time period, and I was the only person I think out there doing that. I don't know if anybody else had actually filmed that. So from that perspective, I've had some valuable footage from a time period that probably will never ever be repeated again in rock. And that was when they had a healthy bar circuit.
I got a question about the songwriting process in Helix. Does all members contribute? Can you tell us about how songs come about in the band?
Well, it depends who I'm writing with. Paul and I usually used to sit down and he'd come up with guitar lick and I try to jam on top. But nowadays when I work with Shawn Kelly, I usually come to him with an idea for a chorus, and then Shawn will go and work on it and come up with a chorus. He'll bring me something and I'll work on it a little bit and I'll send it back to him, he'll add something. And then when we go to the studio, I introduce the band to it and then it evolves a little bit further until it's done. I think one of your questions was, are the guys writing now?
yeah.
And yes, they are. We got a song in the can right now that we put together. It's going to be coming out next couple months, called "The Devil's Having a Party Tonight." It's the first song we've ever written together as a band. Because once again, I had so many members that were coming and going all the time. It wasn't until 2014 when Chris joined that I felt I had a solid lineup. I went through too many times before where I invested in people and all of a sudden they were gone. You know what I mean? So when I felt comfortable that the lineup wasn't going to change, then I started giving the guys more, leeway to write and stuff like that. With the solo album now too, I have my own outlet there. So with the Helix stuff, we can do it one song at a time, and then when we get enough songs, we'll put it on an album.
That's great.
Okay. Brent's not with the band anymore.
No.
Can you tell us a little bit about the reason? Was it a mutual decision or how did that come about?
Brent wanted to leave the band, he wanted to retire. When he came back in 2008, he said, look, I'll try this for a year. I said, okay, fine, that's good, So 3 years later, he was still in the band.
Yeah.
And he said, no, that's it. It's like, I can't take the turn anymore. But he still does the videos for the band. He's still involved with the band. He does my posters for me, helps on the website, all sorts of things, and we're still really good friends. We see him all the time.
Any plans of releasing another live album? You had the Buffalo, Live in Buffalo from '83 released as an album, but anything like Blu-ray, DVD would come out?
No plans in it right now. I thought of doing a live album, but I'll probably concentrate if I do it more on the newer stuff.
Yeah.
But that's not really a priority right now for me.
Now, we've seen your house on Facebook, Planet Helix.
Yeah.
How did that come about, Planet Helix?
When Lynn and I bought the house in about 1993, and when we first got married, and basically we had to borrow money off my parents to get that house. And I bought it for something like $93,000, which is nothing. But it was, like a shoebox. It didn't really need a lot of work. And I didn't have much money at that time. I was basically still recovering from, Paul dying and music changing and divorce. And I noticed that people in the area, because we live in London, Ontario, which is a very British type of town. When settlers first came when they came to Canada, and there was a lot of architecture, Victorian architecture, and they were just literally throwing it in the garbage. And I started hauling this stuff home, and I'd strip it, and then I had a workman that worked down that was my next door neighbor, and he'd come over on Saturdays, and I'd pay him, and I started working this old architectural stuff into the house, and eventually over a 15-year period we redid the whole house. And it's been on MTV Cribs, we've been on Much Music in Canada, there's been all sorts of papers there, it's great stuff.
So what's your future plans for the band Helix? We heard Shawn ask you about the solo album. Is there any plans for a new Helix album, or do you think the album format is relevant in today's music business?
Well, the reason I went to releasing one song at a time through Facebook and YouTube and stuff like that with the Helix stuff is because I felt that after people listen to the first song, they didn't listen to the rest of it. So I thought instead of doing that, I'll concentrate on one song, get a good song, put it out, put a video with it, just a cheap video, put that out, and we'll go one song at a time. When I got about 6 or 7 deep, and record 3 more tracks, and put out an album. With the original album that I just did, it was different because we had a different strategy. Basically, we wanted to use the model of Gary Moore's Still Got the Blues for You.
Yeah.
And what Gary Moore did in that album was he wrote the lead track, the single, and the rest were cover songs, but they weren't obvious hits. There were songs that maybe bubbled under or were favorites of his, because he probably had a long history of knowing blues songs. And there were songs I always wanted to do, so I thought I'll do a couple originals and the rest cover songs I wanted to do. And the first track would be an original, and basically the album would just be a nice listening album because it's all just good rockin' songs. I know they work. They work with me.
Yeah.
Unless I butcher them when they come on.
Looking back 33 years of Helix playing live, you starting with the name Helix, any shows or festivals that really stand out for you?
Well, there's a couple. When we played the Scorpions, probably at CNU Stadium, Toronto. A lot of people remember that gig. That was Brian James Dio, Sig venue. Actually, some of the first gigs we did in the United States were Brian James Dio, Oklahoma City, Albuquerque, and Kansas City, Oklahoma City, Phoenix, and Albuquerque.
I was at the Ronnie James Dio, August 31st, 1985, Rough Cut Helix and Dio. I was at that show.
In Toronto, yeah.
And I do have Heavy Metal Love recorded from that show from Q107. Played that on the radio when I got home that evening.
Oh, yeah, great.
I recorded it, so I still have that on cassette.
Oh, fantastic.
So great times. So.
Those shows stick out, probably playing the Philadelphia Spectrum with Aerosmith.
Yeah.
There's so many gigs. Played Wembley Arena with KISS. Played in Hungary with Ian Gillan.
Do you have any more questions?
Yeah,
I have one more at the end. So.
Yeah, I got one final question as well. A little bit about Chris, who joined the band in 2014. Yes. Did you know him before, or how did he become part of the band?
Excuse me, I didn't know Chris, but Chris played for Daryl in the cover band.
Yeah.
And the guitar player I had at that time, I had to get rid of him. I asked Daryl, because Daryl was out there with his weekend band, and he's all sorts of players, and he suggested Chris, and we thought Chris and it's just fit with the wall.
Okay.
A great attitude, you know. He's a, we call him Mickey Mouse because he's like, "Hi guys, how's it going? Have fun today." You know, like, he's one of those guys, right? He's always up. So, and you need somebody like that on the road because it's difficult out there, right? So you don't want somebody that's going to get downer or, you know, whining about shit, right? You want some people that are up.
He's up there having fun on stage.
Yeah, keep your spirits up, right?
Yeah.
Because let's face it, we've been in this for a lot of years, so we're out there to have fun, make money. Those two things.
Speaking of supporting Helix and the band, your website's always been very active with fans being able to buy merchandise.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to just finish off where they can go buy this merchandise? And
Well,
support
we're
the
going to have
band?
merch today, obviously, but the website's just been redone. And now, instead of the original website, which was done by a friend of mine up in Barrie, Ontario, we changed over to a template, so now I got a real hands-on thing. I can change the videos, I can change anything in it, right? I can write a detailed description of every album, and I can keep adding to it, take away from it, rewrite it, you know, and I don't have to go to somebody that's, 200 miles away and wait 2 weeks to get things changed over. Not that my old webmaster didn't do a good job, because he did a great job. He was an old high school friend, and he did it for free too. But it just was time to move on because of the music nowadays like this, and I can't wait 2 weeks.
And what's the website that fans can go to buy your merchandise?
It's planethelix.com.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today, Brian.
Thanks.
And we
Thank
look
you
forward
for
to
having
seeing you
me,
live
Brian.
tonight, and we'll see you back in Canada.
Okay.
Thank you. This is Shawn and Mikael from Decibel Geek.